So my name's Jenny, and I live in Southsea in Hampshire, in the UK. And I have never had any experience with humming beforehand. I've done a lot of sound work. I've had lots of gong baths, sound healing. A friend of mine's a sound healer, so I've done some toning with her to help shift energy. And I'm very, very interested in and understanding the dynamics of energy and vibration and frequency, and actually the practical use of that knowledge in our everyday life, both from the modern implications and practicalities of using it for stress management and health and well-being and the expansion of consciousness, but also from like looking back to our ancients and the older cultures who knew about the power of energy, vibration and frequency. Yeah, so it was one of those things that it popped up in a Facebook page group that I'm part of, and I very much trust my intuition, and there was just a real feeling of do that.
So your initial, you were like a blank canvas.
Completely. I mean, I had, a basic understanding that sound feels good and can work wonders in moving energy within our body, but the process that we were going to be following, I had no idea, but it was good.
Did you like the idea that we split almost into two levels? So we started with small exercise on breathing, and then we moved into longer meditations.
I really liked how you started off with your story and explained kind of how you got to where you are now, and how it helped you, and how you created the program and what you've been doing with it before lockdown and then during lockdown. And then I really liked how each session was almost like a layering up. So it was planting the seeds of the skills and the exercises that you would then follow. So it's kind of like taking, a baby's born and they can't do anything, and then they're just very dependent on the adults around them, and then they just observe, and then they start doing things a little bit more for themselves, crawling, walking, running, and then flying. Yeah, exactly. And so it started off very much the same. It was like very just do this, and then by the end of it you had you took it to the next level, and then it all gave you the skills to then be able to kind of just think afterwards what little exercises you've got in your toolkit for the time that you've got available or the environment you're in. I've found myself humming more since, and then yesterday listening to the bigger meditation, which I thought was going to be 7 minutes, but turned out I clicked the wrong one and was the 15-minute one. But I just love the going into my world and then feeling the energy within my body and within my mind and within my emotional body, and just actually observing where it was going and what it was triggering and what it was releasing. And that yesterday was a reminder I actually do need to incorporate this more into my everyday life.
But you were remember that you were very aware of the sensations that you felt. You were very aware of how your mind was actually sometimes jeopardizing that process. So I really honor your presence. What exercise did you found it more useful in terms of connecting actually to the vibration on your body and your inner world?
I think that the first off, the most profound exercise for me was when we did the S.
Yes.
Which I think was quite early on. And I did it, and I could literally see the energy of the S as I was humming it. So it suddenly became more 3D, more 3D.
Yes.
And it became not 3D, like an IMAX, or surround sound, and so that was kind of like oh wow, that was pretty cool. But then I think that the biggest most profound was the frog breath. So being able to use your breath to find out where the pain was, and then to use your breath to go deeper and to transform the pain or the discomfort or the energy that you're feeling there. And then once that dissipated, then to use the humming to kind of almost like fill it up.
Yeah.
So that, I think that was, they were the two that really stuck out for me. But obviously all of them had something different and equally good. But
It's a kaleidoscope. You can apply different exercise independently. So one day you might include the frog breathing with your silent meditation, and that will be fine. So it's not like you have to do this and that. I'll give you the tools actually to incorporate.
Yeah, and then it's giving you the confidence to just play around with it. Just let the sound, the humming lead you. Just allow your body to respond to the sounds, and then let you know whether you want to move, whether you want to stay in that place. Because I remember when I was doing the recording, I felt at the beginning I felt very static, and I felt like I wanted to be moving, but I couldn't move.
Right. Almost like frozen.
It was, and then I just thought, actually, I'm very happy just staying in this place, just within me, because there's so many distractions outside of us normally.
Yes.
You know, noises, phones, schedules. You know, so much we can't control, and actually being in that moment of just being literally within your bubble. But not even just your outer bubble, your internal bubble, and just feeling where that frequency took you. It was nice.
Excellent. In terms of a general takeaway of the benefit, in terms of your well-being, mental, physical, emotional well-being, or anything else, what is your biggest takeaway, for you?
Probably another tool in my toolkit to be able to transform energy, because too often people get stuck in a feeling, in a state, whether it's an emotion or whether it's a full-on anxiety or depression, and quite often we get stuck in that place, which then kind of further wires our brains into remembering whatever's gone on beforehand and creating triggers and things. And it's just become another tool in my toolkit to be able to recognize I've been triggered, I'm thinking this limiting belief or this negative thought as a result of what I've just experienced or observed, and that's making me feel like this. And if I carry on feeling like this, I'm going to go downhill. But it's another piece in the toolkit to be able to be mindful of, this is what's happened. You can't just sometimes snap out of it, as some people say, when you get in a bit of a pickle. You have to change something, whether it's your physiology or what you're thinking, saying, or doing. And it's useful to have those things that you can go, actually, I can do this right now. And the shift instantly from doing something like humming is very powerful and very useful to have. Sometimes it will be appropriate to do humming, and I suppose sometimes it'll be less appropriate to do humming unless you don't really care and you think, I'm going to hum on the bus, it doesn't matter.
There's something about the quality of sound without words, because our thoughts are word-based, and they then become actions, as you describe, emotions, and then illness. It's like, so the idea of using pure sound, and what you mentioned about the primal element of our being, is something that actually we can all tap into, but we feel maybe ashamed. We've been told that's so there's lots of preconceptions that we need to break even before coming to the humming. But once you're in it, do you feel the idea of doing it on your own with a group of people that help you in order to get to your own self, but knowing that you were doing with someone else, especially when we break into rooms that we were doing.
Yeah, you felt like you had a buddy and that you're on the same path, and that you were connected, doing the breathing exercises of one breathing in and then one humming, and then the other person breathing in and humming, and then just kind of observing what happens, whether you're in sync or whether you're out of sync, or whether it matters or whatever. It was interesting, because at first, I think probably the first time it might have been, the head is getting in of, am I doing this right? But then actually, once you just surrender to the process, you realize there isn't a right or wrong. You just making noise, and does it feel good? Yeah, do more of it. If it doesn't,
exactly.
explore that.
Depend on the other person, because the humming is very interrelational with yourself, with the other, with the space that we are. Different from doing in a room in the underwater or any physical space. But this idea of being aware of yourself and the other simultaneously is one of the key points of polyhum, the polyphonic.
And that's a really important message to get out into the world, that we may think we are so separate from each other, but how often do people kind of become, or how often do people realize that their thoughts, their words and their actions has an impact on the people around them? And quite often it's a negative impact on we see more often the negatives. You see people littering, you see people having road rage, you see people kind of having difficult moments which then ripple out into the world around them, but actually fundamentally people are good. And that's what lockdown has really shown, of how when we're in a pickle, people really rally around and look out for each other. And it would be nice if people realize that it doesn't have to be only when there's a challenging situation going on, that actually their thoughts, their words, their actions are intermingling with the people around them, and that they can consciously choose to do more and more of the good stuff, to connect more and create more good in the world. And I think, on a simple basis of the polyhum, people realize what it feels like to be connected through humming with another person. And they realize that, that's when they're speaking and having a conversation with people, that's kind of the next level of humming. It's frequency coming out of our voice, and then it's you're going out into the world. You
communicate from your heart. Actually, you speak up without aggression. So it's all about peacemaking, really, because you're at peace with yourself. And people might think the humming has kind of a very soft, but actually can be a very joyful energy. So what you say, if you feel it, it's almost contagious. If you feel happy, you can.
And it can be really powerful as well. I mean, it can be, it can take you in to explore and to unearth what's going on for you. It can be relaxing. It can be uplifting. It can be kind of cathartic as well. I remember, literally just remembered that the exercise we did towards the end, when there was the shaking involved and the humming
and the music, that was primal.
That was primal. That was now that actually that was really profound. That was so good to be able to go, really got to get this out of me, because I don't want that in me anymore. I feel like I need to transform it. And it wasn't like, how do I do this? It was just allowing your body and your voice to do what it does naturally when we get out of its way. So that was that was good.
Excellent. It's all connected, because we tend to separate music, auditory, movement, body, like two different things. And there is everything connected. So in this course, I try to connect different senses and then allow people to feel it. How do you feel about the transition from lockdown into kind of the new normality, and how you think, what will you need in actually about society, in terms of collaboration or a new way of doing, I'm feeling.
Yeah, I think it's building on the empathy that has been triggered through lockdown, and as more people can get out and do more and get into more places, we need that empathy to carry on, because you don't actually know what's going on under the surface for people. You don't know what has happened to them during lockdown, and that's what's, I think, so profound about this whole pandemic and, you know, enforced quarantine, is that for probably the first time ever, the whole world is united in some kind of struggle. And I think that the challenge for moving forward is empowering people. I'm not sure if it's before empowering, it's raising awareness. That's it. Raising awareness that what trauma can do to people's mind, and how it gets stored in the body, and how it becomes future programming.
And our hashtag was One Voice Without Fear, because
and we need the world now to realize that we've all gone through something quite traumatic, and before we do get completely back out into the world, we need to have a big shake off. We need the world to acknowledge this trauma, what it can do if it's left unchecked, and actually do the work to prepare themselves for the time when we are going out fully into the world, and that, you know, you're not suddenly stepping away from people, or you're not scared to hug people, or you've not got these fears and worries getting further and further imprinted. And you know, there's lots of different techniques that you can reduce trauma, but the humming is definitely something to get out there and show people, actually, this is what's happening, this is what energy feels like, this is a tool to help transform it, and this is the reason why now's the time to do it.
Yeah, and you actually tap into one point, which is responsibility, and taking ownership of what you do, from your inside, making it yours, not expecting the solution to come from the outside. And that's crucial, because, and then you see, actually, all human beings were different, but they're common ground. But you have to do, you mentioned you have to do the work. It's like you have this sense of commitment and responsibility in a way, if you want to improve.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's how do we move on from this better people? Because it'd be very easy to, as individuals and collectively, to go back out into the world, having gone through this experience, but not having evolved, not having grown, and not having learnt the lessons, because we've just had the biggest wake-up call, really, individually and collectively. And I think by being locked down, people have really seen what's important to them.
Exactly, yes.
and health, and the people that look after us, and our loved ones, and our families and friends, and that's so important. So it's our duty to do what we can to be our best and get back out there and being connected with each other. After this, I'll sit down and remember as many of my exercises that I've done, and I've got a tool belt, literally a tool belt. And when I go and do workshops, I quite often put a load of my physical tools that I use for my health and well-being in there, to kind of show people some of the normal everyday things and some of the more radical things that I have. But actually, that toolkit has some things which are not tangible, but they are things which, it's remembering that you've done them, you've learned them, and that you can do them anywhere. Because I don't want it to be oh gosh, do you remember when I did that humming challenge? It was really, I really enjoyed the 10 days. But the trick is embedding it.
Exactly.
So you don't just have a memory, you have learning, and you have them tools to carry on working with, and
part of your routine or whatever it is. So hopefully in the future we'll have more structured courses, maybe with videos, so you can do whenever you want. But the beauty is actually doing it live. I cannot wait to do a real gathering. That's how we started, really. Your
the footpath by the River Thames, that sounds really, really beautiful. So you start off with 6, and then a different 6 and a different 6 at another time, and then eventually one day lockdown will be over and it'll be 6,006.
That would be my dream. So
or you could have it happening all over the world.
Yes, that would be ideal. Actually, I had in one meditation, like people were humming in different parts of the world at the same time.
Nice.
Like a stream of energy, like with a purpose coming together. And that's very simple. It will come little by little.
It will. Yeah, absolutely.
I'm developing these apps. I'm really planting the seed to allow people to learn in any language or the techniques, and then creating, as you said, a community of empathy. Because I'm a truly believer humming can help to trigger in a very short time without thinking, actually feeling, because you have to experience things in order to learn. It's not just by telling.
And that's it. And being able to feel things when you're on Zoom with a group of people in different cities and different countries, then that's the wake-up call for people who may have never experienced that kind of connection. Actually, you can hug someone without physically hugging them.
Yes, exactly.
You can hold them energetically without being physically there.
In fact, I call hug and hum, or hum and hug, in one of my events. You're reading my mind. So thank you very much, because I appreciate your time, and I'm very pleased with the level of intimacy that we managed to create, even in a short space of time. Really.
Yeah, and I felt that straight away. It wasn't like it was something that built up over the 10-day challenge. I instantly felt like, oh, this is part of my tribe. It's safe. It's okay. I can hum and explore movement and sound at the same time, and
no one is judging you.
No one's judging. No, there's no point trying to convince everybody.
No,
you just live it. You just be it, and you share it, and then the right people will come at the right time. And it might be that they're not ready right now, but then they'll then maybe over the next year they'll hear someone humming, or they'll watch a TV show and somebody be talking about the benefits of humming, and it'd be like that little kind of
little trigger.
Eventually the stars will align, and they'll go, keep hearing about this humming, I really should give it a go. And then they go, wow, why didn't I get involved with the humming at the start when they kept saying how great it would be?
I love it. It will be like that one day.
One day, yeah, exactly. But everyone
just keep doing it. Consistency. What I've learned from the Zoom, all the experiences, is consistency. Because I literally did 200 hours of humming. Like I've never done it so much intensity. In 3 languages, 4 or 5 hours a day.
Yeah.
So this week I took a break, and I really appreciate it.
I was going to say, you now need to integrate and to
exactly
rest and relax, because you held space for so many people.
Yes.
But equally, you went on your own journey, which will have been kind of influenced by the energy of each group, which was different every single time. Yeah, it's not like you had the same.
You cannot accept exactly.
Yeah. And so that takes a lot of mental energy, kind of holding space for people, but also it's a very physical and energetic experience as well, the humming, so that will have been shifting stuff. So
definitely, yes.
So you deserve some downtime, and you deserve to celebrate what you've just achieved.
Thank you.